Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. I'm joined by Thomas, and this is a final predictions video for the big fight happening in the light heavyweight division this weekend. David Benavidez against David Morrell. Battle of the Davids, both undefeated. Somebody's always got to go, and it's an absolutely huge fight for the 175-pound division. Before we get into it, Thomas, and before I ask you for your final prediction, if you are watching this, guys, please do drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts on what we're about to discuss, how you see this fight playing out, and please do hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Accustomed to our channel and see our content daily. Got all of your boxing needs under one roof, and please do like the video as well. Thomas, as I mentioned, Benavidez Morrell, undefeated against undefeated. Massive fight happening on a big card as well. We're of course the same card as Brandon Figueroa, Stephen Fulton too. We have also done a preview and final predictions for that, so please do check those videos out. But this is final predictions. How does it play out between David Benavidez and David Morrell? Tell me, Thomas.
You know, uh, I see David Benavidez getting it done. I think it's gonna be a tough one for him stylistically. David Morrell has that slick Cuban style. And I think that, he's gonna have quite a bit of success early on, Morrell. Uh, but David, he just has that style that grinds people down, and he knows how to wear guys out over time. And I think he will do the same thing to David Morrell. I'm I'm curious to I wonder just how tough Morrell is. I I'm wondering if we've like really ever seen him in deep water or hurt or anything like that. So I would like to see how he would react to a situation like that. Um, I feel like that's kind of been the knock on Cuban fighters too, is they're very technically superior, but you know, um, tend to lack a bit in the heart department. But we'll see. Uh, I think that David Benavidez will, after a tough first half of the fight, will get to Morrell and stop him in perhaps round 10 or 11.
Interesting, Thomas. That's an intriguing one for me. I think a few points I kind of want to pick up on there, and I agree with who you think's going to win this fight. I believe David Benavidez will get the job done. Interesting that you mentioned the question mark over the Cubans. Like their skill set, their boxing IQ, their footwork, everything about their talents. That's it's impeccable, really. But as you mentioned, there's a question about their heart. David Morrell might be cut from a completely different cloth. He might be he might have uh, he might be ice cold. He might be he might really want it. He might be able to bite down on that gum shield. We don't know, as you said, because he hasn't really been tested. Has he been put back on the ropes? Has he taken a barrage of shots? Then no, not yet. He probably will against David Benavidez, and we'll see how he reacts. Um, I like David Morrell. I think as well when you look at this fight, I think the fact that they both have fought at super middleweight for most of their career, but this fight's happening at light heavy. It's not like you can it's not like anything plays into a huge advantage into either fighter. Obviously, Benavidez had that win on his light heavyweight debut against Gvozdyk by decision, but Morrell, I think, is completely different. I agree with Benavidez winning. I also agree with Benavidez winning via stoppage. Couple of hairy moments could be on the cards, but I ultimately see David Benavidez taking over, getting the stoppage, and similarly to what we discussed last week, for the Diego Pacheco one, Thomas, I think I'm maybe going a little earlier than you. I'm going to go David Benavidez to get the job done around 7, 8, 9, probably. Just a little before you. Second half of the fight, but just into the second half of the fight for me, I think he'll maybe take over. Yeah, I mean, could he himself come back from being hurt early on, potentially? I could see that. David Morrell's a big puncher as well. But I've been more impressed by Benavidez. And I just want to mention as well the fact that like I'm a big fan of David Benavidez. A lot of people think he's the man to beat Canelo. People even saying that he's perhaps ducking Canelo. Whatever you think, I his resume speaks for itself. I think when he went into that Caleb Plant fight all those years, the first few years ago, I thought Caleb Plant was going to win that. because I still had questions over David Benavidez. Proved me completely wrong. And then you just kind of look at the body of work, even the way he dealt with the previously undefeated Demetrius Andrade last time out. Like, yeah, it was incredible. He battered him really, didn't he? And yeah, I think David Benavidez is the real deal. And I'm going for a stoppage as well, mate. Somewhere in the second half, but just a little earlier than you. Following up from that, Thomas, we're both going for the Benavidez stoppage. As I mentioned, this is a light heavyweight. Do you believe that whatever happens in February 22nd between Beterbiev and Bivol, say for argument's sake, Beterbiev wins and maybe goes up to cruiserweight or retires because he's 40. Do you think Benavidez could almost be the next guy at 175 pounds? I imagine Bivol, no matter what happens, will still hang about at 175. But do you think that Benavidez could be up there with the likes of a Bivol? Say Beterbiev isn't there. Do you think Benavidez can be the guy at light heavy?
I think he would be up there with Bivol for sure. I think it's just a matter of how he matches with a guy like Bivol. Um, I would love to see that fight. Like if Bivol were to win on the 22nd, um, and Benavidez were to win on the first, then I would love to see that fight. But I I get the sense that perhaps it probably wouldn't happen immediately afterward, um, or maybe at all. But I feel like boxing has been trending in the right direction lately as far as big fights happening. So I'm a little bit more optimistic than I would be, a few years ago. And if, for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, I mean, what else really is out there aside from the winner of Benavidez Morrell? I feel like even though those guys haven't really done hardly anything at 175 besides that, their one win, um, I do think their body of work at 168, and the fact that they're really light heavyweights, they're big dudes. So, um, I think that whoever wins that fight between Benavidez and Morrell would be the likely challenger for uh, the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. And I think especially if Benavidez wins, then yeah, like I would see him being a real dominant champion.
For sure, mate. For sure. Well, all will be revealed on February 1st after David Benavidez and David Morrell fight. We could have a new star of the 175-pound division emerging. Will it be David Benavidez or will it be David Morrell? Please let us know in the comments your thoughts on this fight and how you see it playing out. And yeah, as usual, please do drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. Thomas, really enjoyed that. Really looking forward to this fight and speak to you again soon, brother.
Likewise, thank you.